This world holds many histories that amaze scientists, whether lost cities, mysterious areas, hidden mysterious ships, and much more. But Atlantis is the oldest mystery that scientists couldn't resolve until now. In this video, we'll dive deep into the origin of the Lost City of Atlantis, where it is found, some essential facts about it, and what are different theories and advanced explorations have happened in recent years. So stay tuned to know new information about Atlantis. Let's have a look. The Lost City of Atlantis was first mentioned by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues The Timaeus and the Critias, written about 360 BC, more than 2,300 years ago. According to Plato, the utopian island kingdom existed some 9,000 years before his time and mysteriously disappeared one day. Famed for having been the exhibit of all worldly pleasures in the world, this city is as enigmatic as it is inviting. Plato described Atlantis as a large island with a circular city at its center, surrounded by concentric rings of land and water. The island was rich in natural resources and had a splendid culture and government. However, Plato also said that the Atlanteans became corrupted by their wealth and power and tried to conquer. The rest of the world, they were defeated by the Athenians, who were favored by the gods, and soon after Atlantis was destroyed by a great cataclysm that submerged it under the ocean. Even after years of research, the exact truth about this city has not been found, and that adds even more to all the folklore attached to it. Let's discuss some facts, theories, and the latest exploration given by different historians. 1. Atlantis didn't exist at all. Plato invented it. Though today Atlantis is often conceived of as a peaceful utopia, the Atlantis that Plato described in his fable was very different. In his book, Encyclopedia of Dubious Archaeology, Professor of Archaeology Ken Feder notes that in Plato's story, Atlantis is not a place to be honoured or emulated at all. Atlantis is not the perfect society. Quite the contrary. Atlantis is the embodiment of a materially wealthy, technologically advanced and militarily powerful nation that has become corrupted by its wealth, sophistication and might. As propaganda in Plato's morality tale, the Atlantis legend is more about the city's heroic rival Athens than a sunken civilization. If Atlantis really existed today and was found intact and inhabited, its residents would probably try to kill and enslave us all. It's clear that Plato made up Atlantis as a plot device for his stories because there are no other records of it anywhere else in the world. There are many extant Greek texts. Surely someone else would have also mentioned, at least in passing, such a remarkable place. There is simply no evidence from any source that the legends about Atlantis existed before Plato wrote about it. In his book, Meet Me in Atlantis, Across 3 Continents in Search of the Legendary Lost City, Mark Adams explains how an otherwise unremarkable Greek legend became so widely known. It was due to a Minnesota man named Ignatius Donnelly, 1831 to 1901. Donnelly was a congressman and amateur historian who claimed, in his 1882 book, The Antediluvian World, that all great advances in civilization and technology could be traced back to the long-lost island mentioned by Plato. But Donnelly went beyond merely popularizing Plato's story. He added some of his own facts and ideas that have become part of the Atlantis myth. Donnelly promoted what is now called diffusionism, the idea that all great cultures can be traced back to a single source. Adams describes Donnelly as the first great Atlantis fundamentalist, in that he believed that Plato's story was factually accurate outside of the supernatural elements like Poseidon. Donnelly sent a copy of his book to Charles Darwin, who found it interesting but unpersuasive. Reading it, he said, in a very skeptical spirit. Adams, after poring over much of Donnelly's materials, comes to a similar conclusion. Donnelly was a bag of winds. He knew the results he wanted and rummaged through his sources searching for only those facts that fit his needs without pausing to note any reasonable doubts. Furthermore, despite modern advances in oceanography and ocean floor mapping, no trace of such a sunken civilization has ever been found. 2. Atlantis is the story of the Minoan civilization. One of the more recent Atlantean theories concerns the civilization that flourished on the Greek islands of Crete and Thera, now Santorini, more than 4,000 years ago. The Minoans, named for the legendary King Minos. Believed to be Europe's first great civilization, the Minoans built splendid palaces, constructed paved roads, and were the first Europeans to use a written language, Linear A. At the height of their power, however, the Minoans suddenly disappeared from history. an enduring mystery that has fueled belief in a link between this great doomed civilization and Plato's Atlantis. Historians believe around 1600 BC, a massive earthquake shook the volcanic island of Thera, triggering an eruption that spewed 10 million tons of rock, ash and gas into the atmosphere. Tsunamis that followed the eruption were large enough to wipe out Minoan cities throughout the region, devastation that may have made the Minoans vulnerable to invaders from the Greek mainland. 3. Atlantis was Antarctica. According to Hapgood, 1958 book, Earth's Shifting Crust, around 12,000 years ago, the Earth's crust shifted, displacing the continent that became Antarctica from a location much further north than it is today. This more temperate continent was home to an advanced civilization, but the sudden shift to its current frigid location doomed the civilization's inhabitants, the Atlanteans, and their magnificent city was buried under layers of ice. Hapgood's theory surfaced before the scientific world gained a full understanding of plate tectonics, which largely relegated his shifting crust idea to the fringes of Atlantean beliefs. 4. The story of Atlantis was a mythical retelling of the Black Sea flood. This theory presumes Atlantis itself was fictional, but the story of its demise was inspired by an actual historical event, the breaching of the Bosporus by the Mediterranean Sea and subsequent flooding of the Black Sea around 5600 BC. At the time, the Black Sea was a freshwater lake half its current size. 5. Atlantis was a mid-Atlantic continent. In his 1882 book Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, the writer Ignatius Donnelly argued the Atlantic Ocean was only a few hundred feet deep. Donnelly described a continent flooded by shifting ocean waters that sank in the exact location Plato said it did. In the Atlantic Ocean, just outside the Pillars of Hercules, the two rocks that mark the entrance to the Straits of Gibraltar. Long after modern oceanography and a greater understanding of plate tectonics poked holes in his shifting waters thesis, some continue to cling to Donnelly's theory, mostly due to its adherence to Plato's placement of Atlantis in the mid-Atlantic. 6. Atlantis was swallowed up by the Bermuda Triangle. Inspired by Donnelly, many later writers expanded on his theories and added their own speculations as to where Atlantis may have been. One of these writers was Charles Berlitz, grandson of the founder of the well-known language schools and author of many books on paranormal phenomena. In the 1970s, Berlitz claimed Atlantis was a real continent located off the Bahamas that had fallen victim to the notorious Bermuda Triangle, a region of the Atlantic where a number of ships had supposedly disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Supporters of this theory point to the discovery of what look like man-made walls and streets found off the coast of Bimini, although scientists have evaluated these structures and found them to be natural beach rock formations. Yet over 130 years have passed without a trace of evidence. The Atlantis legend has been kept alive, fueled by the public's imagination and fascination with the idea of a hidden, long-lost utopia. Yet the lost city of Atlantis was never lost. It is where it always was in Plato's books. What do you think? Is Atlantis real or a plot? Let me know in the comments. If you like mysterious content, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you never miss out on the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.